On this edition with the headlines. Day after the Malegaon blast verdict, former ATS officer Mehboob Mujawar drops a bombshell, says he was asked by his higher-ups to arrest RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat to establish a saffron terror narrative. As this Hindu terror bogey flops, Congress leader and former Chief Minister of Maharashtra Prithviraj Chavan says instead of saying saffron terror, we should call it Sanatani or Hindu terrorism. After Rahul Gandhi's renewed attack on Election Commission, poll body hits back, says they are ignoring such baseless allegations. Rahul Gandhi attacks the Election Commission, says votes are being stolen, reiterates the Election Commission is involved in vote theft, says a big expose coming up on the 4th of August. Prajwal Revanna convicted in the Hassan farmhouse rape case. Special court in Bengaluru says Revanna is found guilty. Punishment to be pronounced tomorrow. There's a new twist to the release of the movie Udaipur Files. More weight in store as Centre withdraws its July 21st order recommending cuts in the movie. Government says it will hear all parties afresh. From National Capital to Bengaluru, focus once again on pothole menace and urban apathy. Citizens frustrated as the same story plays out every single year. Raise your voice and join the CNNNews18 campaign to save our cities. The race for the Vice President's post has officially begun. Election Commission has announced that Vice Presidential election will be held on the 9th of September. Following US President Donald Trump's big tariff announcement, levying 25% tariff on Indian exports to the United States, India is standing up to what some may call bullying tactics. India isn't willing to budge, at least as far as the agriculture and dairy sector are concerned. Sources have informed CNNNews18 that India has made it clear to the negotiating team of the United States that there will be no concession when it comes to these two sectors, and the interests of our farmers will be kept paramount. India is also unlikely to buy defense equipment from the United States, is what we're given to understand. In fact, what has led this tariff tantrum, as many would call it, of Donald Trump is the fact that the US president seems extremely frustrated with the Indian side standing firm on its ground as far as trade negotiations go. And that is an admission that has come to the fore in an exclusive interview with CNBC, where US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent remarked that the US president and the whole negotiating team is frustrated with New Delhi.
A lot was made of the president's comments about India. We were trying to figure it out exactly what, and it's obviously negotiating and leverage and everything else. And we've heard that we're close with India, and that's one of the majors, other than China, that are left. What was the president's intent yesterday with some of those comments about India? And do you expect something to happen before the deadline?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen. It'll be up to India. India came to the table early. They've been slow rolling things. So I think that the president, the whole trade team's a bit frustrated with them. And also, India's been a large buyer of sanctioned Russian oil that they then resell as refined products. So, they have not been a great global actor.
वाणिज्य एवं उद्योग मंत्रालय निर्यातकों और उद्योग सहित सभी हितधारकों से संवाद कर इस विषय पर उनके आकलन की जानकारी ले रहा है। हम अपने रिफॉर्म्स और अपने किसानों, एमएसएमई और उद्यमियों की कड़ी मेहनत के बल पर 11वीं सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था से शीर्ष 5 अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में से एक बन गए हैं। हम अपने राष्ट्रीय हितों को सुरक्षित करने और आगे बढ़ाने के लिए सभी आवश्यक कदम उठाएंगे। भारत फ्रैजाइल 5 अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में से निकलकर दुनिया की सबसे तेजी से बढ़ती प्रमुख अर्थव्यवस्था बन गया है। भारत वैश्विक विकास में लगभग 16% का योगदान दे रहा है।
Pallavi, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more perspective. Pallavi, what have you gathered from your sources within the government? Because we are going to be seeing the US negotiating team in India in a few days from now. And if Donald Trump and the negotiating team is as frustrated as the US Treasury Secretary says, where do we go from here on?
Well, I mean, we are not giving up the option, and certainly we don't see it as the end of the road. But I think the statement of the Commerce Minister in Parliament yesterday, Poonam, is a very clear giveaway about what is it that India is going to be standing for. So India is going to stand firm on some things which are not going to be negotiable, even as we are going to negotiate a trade deal with American negotiators coming roughly around the 25th of August. So what is it that we are not willing to budge on? Well, that is on agricultural products. We cannot open up our markets to American products, is what government says. As far as the sensitive issues are concerned, sensitive products are concerned, like rice, like maize, corn, millets and fruits for that matter. Apart from the agrarian products, dairy, of course, there's no question of it also being opened up as far as American products are concerned. Some items which America may want to push into India, like beef meat, those are the things we are obviously not going to be accepting at all. But apart from this genetically modified food, which is the GM food, because the government says that first of all the interest of the farmers should be paramount, and second, there would be a huge resistance to it, and India would not want this. That is where the entire national interest angle comes in, which is what is going to be for our farmers, for our labor intensive industries. Those are the things we made it very clear. In fact, Poonam, the government also suggests via the Commerce Minister's statement is that 25% tariff which Donald Trump has imposed on us is relatively high. That is because we have not agreed to bend on these critical sectors. So therefore, we are fine with it. We've looked at alternatives. There are new markets. The FTA signed with UK recently, which is a very good deal in favor of India, which is going to open up the UK markets to Indian products. This is a very clear-cut messaging to America and to the world that India is looking at options. India is looking at new markets. And, you know, there are people, global players, who are willing to do business with India.
Absolutely, and that firmness that New Delhi has shown clearly is one of the reasons why the negotiating team of the United States seem to be as frustrated as they are. Pallavi, do stay on with us. This tariff war, or tantrum as many would call it, by Donald Trump has triggered a fierce political fight here back home as well. Let's listen into some of those reactions.
सर, क्या भारत की इकोनॉमी में डेड हो चुकी है सर?
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं यार, आपको पता है।
सर, क्या भारत की इकोनॉमी में डेड हो चुकी है सर?
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं यार, आपको पता है।
We have seen the statements coming in from Donald Trump, but BJP has an issue with how Rahul Gandhi has said that India's economy is dead.
The problem with BJP and Mr. Modi is that they don't have any problem when the slap is from Trump. They will, when Trump calls India's economy a dead economy, Mr. Modi should have treated in that time itself. After 1 minute he should have treated. But Modi is not ready to take the name of Trump. He is not coming to the parliament. He is not attending Rajya Sabha. He is not doing any other thing other than just to watch and wait for this thing. And he is sending Piyush Goyal, who is not ready to take the name of Trump in the parliament. They are afraid about Trump. They will jump on Rahul Gandhi and opposition. But when the reaction is asked by the media that Trump has called the economy as a dead economy, leader of opposition replied that India's economy is in terrible condition because of the wrong policy of Mr. Modi to help Adani only. Adani is, the country has become only Adani centric. Adani's growth has become India's growth. That cannot be accepted. This is not acceptable to us. Therefore only we want a discussion on SIR and vote chori in parliament.
1998 में इसी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार में, कांग्रेस में तो हिम्मत थी नहीं, आपको ध्यान हो कि हमने परमाणु परीक्षण किया और अमेरिका के कई एक सहयोगी देशों ने हमारे ऊपर इकोनॉमिक सैंक्शन लगा दिए। हमने क्या किया या हमारे देश के लोगों ने क्या किया? हमारे भारत के लोगों में सामर्थ्य है। हम 140 करोड़ के देश हैं। उस वक्त भी अटल जी के तौर पर एक मजबूत प्रधानमंत्री इस देश को था। आज तो उनसे भी ज्यादा जो है मोदी जी मजबूत प्रधानमंत्री हैं। हमारी इकोनॉमी 1999 से जो बढ़नी स्टार्ट हुई, अरे ये मोदी जी की सरकार है। हम मजबूत हैं। 140 करोड़ लोगों के सामर्थ्य पर हमें भरोसा है।
ट्रंप का ये कहना है कि भारत और रूस की इकोनॉमी डेड है, एकदम गलत बात है। भारत की इकोनॉमी डेड नहीं। जो हमने आर्थिक सुधार किए जब नरसिम्हा राव जी और मनमोहन सिंह जी थे, उसके बाद उस आर्थिक सुधारों को आगे वाजपेयी जी ने भी बढ़ाया और उसके बाद मनमोहन सिंह जी ने 10 साल में जो मजबूती प्रदान की और उसके बाद वर्तमान सरकार ने भी जो उसमें काम बढ़ाया, तो हमारी आर्थिक स्थिति कहीं से भी कमजोर नहीं है। तो इसलिए हम आर्थिक रूप से कोई हमें कहे कि हमें खत्म कर देगा, उसकी गलत फहमी है। तो ट्रंप की गलत फहमी जी रहा। टैरिफ की तो मैंने आलोचना की कि ये गलत है। टैरिफ इम्पोज करना, हर देश को अधिकार है कि किसके साथ व्यापार करे, उसमें इस तरह रोक लगाना, ब्रिक्स के खिलाफ बोलना, रशिया से इम्पोर्ट के खिलाफ है, बिजनेस के खिलाफ बोलना, ये उनका जो है कतई उचित नहीं है।
Let's not take this too seriously. I have been following Donald Trump since the 90s when I was a student. He is a showman. He is unorthodox. He is unconventional. Let's not get flustered. Sober, calm negotiations will lead results. He has made comments about pretty much every country. All those countries eventually have come to some sort of understanding, and we will also come to some understanding. India needs America. America needs India. We are both large economies. We need each other. And the second thing is we also have very strong people-to-people ties. So this is not going to get derailed by somebody making a tweet or putting out a post on social media in the middle of the night. This is his style. Learn to deal with it. Anyway, he's also got a limited shelf life. He will only be president until the 20th of January 2029. Beyond that, he will not be there. But the relationship between these two countries will endure for centuries to come.
Now, Pallavi, we are going to be seeing these tariffs kick in about a week from now. There are some nitty-gritties that the United States is also working on as far as enforcement goes, is what they had claimed. But we're yet to know how much it is going to be over and above that 25%, because Donald Trump still hasn't said what that penalty that he is going to be levying on India is going to be like.
Well, the penalty, the 10% extra he's talking about is because India is buying Russian oil, but that's a different issue. But it is at 25%. Normally, you've looked at the other countries who have renegotiated. There are two things which stand apart. In many of those countries, the heads of the government and the state have immediately called up the American president, almost pleading with him that you have to renegotiate. That is something which is not going to be happening from India. We are ready to open up a little bit, but those are those sectors we already have agreed to open up. For example, the auto parts, some of it, some varieties of American corn, apples, but that's only a wee bit. It's not alarmingly going to be high. What America's wish list is huge, Poonam. They, for example, want, American rice, variety of rice, for example, to come into India. Most importantly, they want GM foods to be opened up into India, which is something we are just not willing to accept. Zero tolerance on that part. So, having taken that position, I think the messaging from our country is very clear that other countries have had a sharp fall as far as the tariff rates are concerned, but that is because they have bent backwards to please and succumb to American pressure. India is not going to be doing so. So if it is going to remain at 25%, it might, so be it, because we have been looking at alternative plans, looking at newer markets, selling up new products. So where America may close their doors to us on certain items and certain markets, we have found alternatives. And I just gave an example of the FTA signed up with UK. That's a huge market we have managed to procure. So therefore, there's no worry over here. National interest topmost. That's the priority number one. Not bending, jhukenge nahi, and Atmanirbhar and Viksit Bharat. That's the mantra which the government is working upon.
Right, Pallavi, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. India, of course, has maintained that there are some sectors where we cannot give any more concessions, and that is something that we will stand firm on. That's a stance that has been reiterated by the Ministry of External Affairs as well, also reiterating that this is a minor hiccup, that relationship between India and the United States have withstood many more challenges and will continue to do so. Listen.
On the other question about proposed oil sale, etc. Look, I would say that I have no comments to offer in this particular matter. So, on our energy sourcing requirements, you are aware of our broad approach that we look at what is there available in the markets, what is there on offer, and also what is the prevailing global situation or circumstances. Now, on the specific question, I am not aware of the specifics that you mentioned.
Well, there's a lot of countries that I know have reached out. I believe it's upwards of 200 countries around the world have reached out to the trade and tariff team. Of course, as I said previously and the president said, we're going to prioritize our key trading partners, which we have done. Like I said, of the 18, 2/3 of those we have cut these tailor-made deals with. But I do know that the trade team has been working around the clock to try to be in correspondence with as many countries as possible. But if they haven't heard from us yet, they will in the form of a letter or an executive order by midnight tonight.
Shifting focus now to more breaking news that's coming in. Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy has threatened young journalists, in which this threat was made by the Telangana Chief Minister.
Yeah, in fact, remarks of Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy, comments erupting new controversy in the state of Telangana. He made some serious remarks on the journalists this time. Participating in a newspaper's annual program here in Hyderabad, he said that some of the journalists, some of the individuals, even doesn't know the alphabet. Even after that, they are claiming themselves as a journalist and putting their names before journalists before their name, and making whatever the comment they want. And sometimes he said that sometimes he wanted to come down and he wanted to slap in on these kind of journalists. In fact, this time he targeted some of the digital media journalists, because here his main intention is some of the journalists, some of the YouTube channels is making some news live kind of things, and they are making some abusive languages against Chief Minister and other leaders also. This is the main context behind it. Even after that, he said that he urged the journalist fraternity to make them separate from the journalist fraternity, and they have to keep aside, because that's what he exactly wanted to say. Because as nowadays some of the YouTube channels is making a lot of abusive language. Sometimes his allegation, major allegation is also that these people are paid by the Chief Minister's allegation is that they were paid by the opposition parties, and individually they are doing whatever things they want in the name of news and the news analysis. That's what exactly allegations from the Chief Minister. Already in the digital media, in the social media, already some of the remarks, some of the comments coming against the Chief Minister, and of course it will become one of the discussion points in the state of Telangana just now.
Right, Ramana, do stay on with us. Let's listen into what the Chief Minister of Telangana, Revanth Reddy, had to actually say.
నాకైతే అప్పుడప్పుడు అనిపిస్తుంది దిగిపోయి పల్ల చెంపలు వలగొట్టాలని. కానీ పరిస్థితులు హోదా అడ్డం వస్తుంటాయి. గతంలో జర్నలిస్టులను చూస్తే మర్యాద ఇచ్చి పలకరించి ప్రెస్ మీట్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళతో 10 నిమిషాలు మాట్లాడి మేము చెప్పిన దాంట్లో ఏమన్నా లోపాలు ఉన్నాయా, లేకపోతే మేము చెప్తున్న ఉద్దేశం ఇదే అని.
Now, there was a lot of laughter around as well when that comment was made by Revanth Reddy, Ramana, but we're seeing this kind of blow up, at least on social media. Any response from the opposition parties in the state of Telangana?
Of course, opposition parties, DRS is condemning the statement of Telangana. As you said, there is a laughter while Chief Minister is making that remark of that. So he said in a very casual manner that I wanted to come down and I wanted to slap the people who is doing like these kind of the activities. And moreover, he mentioned that earlier situation is not like that. Generally, they used to come to them after the press conference. Also, they used to discuss with the journalists and all. If anything goes wrong with them, also the journalists used to correct them. That's what exactly Chief Minister wanted to tell.
Right.
Of course, he said in a lighter way, and of course, there is a lot of allegation, that of condemn.
Lighter vein or not, but somebody like a Chief Minister should realize that his words carry weight and they must be made in that context. Ramana, do stay on with us. BJP Shahzad Poonawalla also with us on this broadcast. Shahzad, your first response to what Revanth Reddy has said?
Poonam, this has become a habit of the Congress. Just few hours ago, Rahul Gandhi was threatening blowing up the election commission with an atom bomb. And now, few hours later, you have Revanth Reddy saying he will slap YouTube journalists. But Poonam, this is not the first time. How many stories you all have done saying on CNN that Revanth Reddy threatens journalists, arrests journalists, Gachibowli case? You remember the manner in which just recently last week he said that Indira Gandhi ko do nahi jante, I will slap them. Samvidhan ka apman and fourth pillar of democracy ka apman. Because this kind of threat to the media or to the institutions comes in the DNA of Rahul Gandhi. You know, Indira ji imposed censorship on the media. You know, they bought the First Amendment. Rajiv ji brought 2 laws against the media. 14 journalists, including Ravi Shankar, have been banned by the Congress party, and now Revanth Reddy is showing his true colors. So this is धमकी की दुकान, संविधान का अपमान, कांग्रेस की पहचान.
Shahzad, but the Congress says in the Chief Minister's office also claiming that this was a comment that was made in a lighter vein. There was laughter as well from the audience when this comment was made. This is just the Congress's political rivals taking it too seriously. That's what they claim.
No. He takes being a Chief Minister as a joke. He is on a constitutional position, and the media is the most respected fourth pillar of our democracy. It is the strength of our democracy. Countries don't have free media, and they are not democracies without free media. So I don't think that free media can be pulverized like this. And this is not one-off. Poonam, there is a pattern. Right from Rahul Gandhi's comment is also in lighter vein. The comments made by other leaders also of the Congress party against the institution of democracy, are they in lighter vein? So this is not a trivial or a joking matter. I think the Editors Guild, they are very active on some cases, but in some cases they go silent whenever it is Congress case. So I hope the Editors Guild will also speak up for a change.
Shahzad Poonawalla, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. The BJP, the BRS latching on to these comments, these threats that have come to the fore from Revanth Reddy. We'll try and get your response from the Congress on this as well. My colleague Ramana also continues to be with us. But let's listen in to the comment made by Revanth Reddy once again.
నాకైతే అప్పుడప్పుడు అనిపిస్తుంది దిగిపోయి పల్ల చెంపలు వలగొట్టాలని. కానీ పరిస్థితులు హోదా అడ్డం వస్తుంటాయి. గతంలో జర్నలిస్టులను చూస్తే మర్యాద ఇచ్చి పలకరించి ప్రెస్ మీట్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళతో 10 నిమిషాలు మాట్లాడి మేము చెప్పిన దాంట్లో ఏమన్నా లోపాలు ఉన్నాయా లేకపోతే మేము చెప్తున్న ఉద్దేశం ఇదే అని.
Now, Ramana, any response from the Chief Minister's office or from the Congress, given that we've seen this kind of blow up on social media, BJP, BRS also raking it up?
As of now, there is no official statement from the Chief Minister's office because the Chief Minister himself made these comments just 2-3 hours before, in fact. He was participating in newspapers, some official program of a newspaper, and he made that comment, in fact. In these comments, he clearly mentioned that you are mentioning about the laughter in that particular thing, is that he spoke in the completely local language, the general usage language. That's why they are laughing. Of course, as you said, it's a very serious comment because if anything is against to the people, if social media is anything against to the leaders or Congress party, he can put on like whatever things he want. He can go ahead with we can go for the case or some other things whichever he wants. But making these kind of comments, definitely it's a derogative comment. We can treat it as a derogative comment. As you said, this will go serious in the future. In fact, the BRS has already responded on that, and this is the Chief Minister's attitude, and he wanted to make everything controversy. That's why he's doing that. He wanted to suppress the media because he could not fulfill his promises. Generally, political statements-wise, they are doing, and as well as they are mentioning they are mentioning about the recent attacks on the journalists, recent attacks on the social media. He's putting all together, and they are making the allegations, they are making the comments on the Chief Minister. From the Congress party, as of now, we haven't received any kind of a statement or any kind of contempt from the Congress party as of now.
Right, Ramana, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. We'll of course keep an eye out on how this moves from here on. If this is a debate that is laid to rest, or is this a political controversy that the Congress that continues to haunt the Telangana Congress at least. Before now, time for a quick break on this edition. Back in just a few minutes.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The opposition, remember, is now going to intensify the entire stir, which so far was limited to the parliament. But Rahul Gandhi has already attacked the Election Commission on the SIR issue. What we are being told is that he's saying that votes are being stolen. He's reiterated that Election Commission is involved in vote theft. Listen in to what the leader of opposition has to say.
Bus open and shut प्रूफ है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोट चोरी में इन्वॉल्व है। और मैं लाइटली नहीं बोल रहा हूं, मैं 100% प्रूफ के साथ बोल रहा हूं, ठीक है। और आप सबको पता लग जाएगा, जैसे ही हमने ये रिलीज किया पूरे देश को पता लग जाएगा कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोटर चोरी करा रहा है। किसके लिए करा रहा है? किसके लिए करा रहा है? बीजेपी के लिए करा रहा है। ओपन एंड शट है, नो क्वेश्चन। हमें मध्य प्रदेश में सस्पिशन था, लोकसभा में सस्पिशन था, महाराष्ट्र में वो थोड़ा आगे गया, स्टेट लेवल पे हमें लगा कि यहां पे चोरी हुई है। वोटर एडिशन हुआ था, 1 करोड़ वोटर्स ऐड हुए थे। फिर हम थोड़ा डिटेल में गए, हमने कहा देखो अब इलेक्शन कमीशन तो मदद नहीं कर रहा है, तो थोड़ी ग्रैन्युलैरिटी में जाना है, गहराई में जाना है। तो हमने अपना ही इन्वेस्टिगेशन करवाया, उसमें 6 महीने लगे और जो हमें मिला है वो एटम बॉम्ब है। मतलब एटम बॉम्ब है, फटेगा तो आप इलेक्शन कमीशन आपको दिखेगा नहीं हिंदुस्तान में।
Claims coming in from the leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi. Remember, it's not the first time that he's accused the EC of stealing votes for the BJP, but this comes again on a day when the voter draft has been released by the EC in the state of Bihar. Pallavi Ghosh joins me with more perspective on that news story. Pallavi should be joining us in just a bit, but remember, Rahul Gandhi has reiterated that he has proof, and not just any proof. He's gone on to label it as proof which is an atom bomb. Once that will be released, will not in fact leave the EC with any face saving. But it's important that he is now indicating that they are all set to release that evidence in some time from now, as Arunima was highlighting that these political parties, even the ones in the opposition, have been given a copy of the SIR draft rollout, and one that will also be uploaded at 3 p.m. today for public consumption. But these parties have their hands on this, and keeping all of this in mind, Rahul Gandhi is stepping out in the parliament, making that claim that he will be exposing the election commission, reiterating his accusation that the election commission is stealing votes of the people of Bihar. He's also referred to the assembly elections in Maharashtra, even MP. Arunima joins me on the phone line with more inputs. So Arunima, as you were highlighting earlier, that Rahul Gandhi is already now creating a stir, rather intensifying the stir by making that claim that he's going to expose that evidence which is an atom bomb, as he's claimed. But give us a sense of how the strategy that Rahul Gandhi is now going to be following.
He has been speaking about this voter list fraud for some time. Even on the floor of the House, he spoke about Maharashtra elections, and he suffered a setback. The Mumbai High Court, the judiciary in Maharashtra, refused to entertain the plea that his party had taken. There was no such positive news from the Delhi High Court either, as far as Haryana elections are concerned. So even though he has been constantly harping on the point, he first spoke about Maharashtra and Haryana. Latest edition was Karnataka, where he said that Central Bengaluru elections were also chosen. Today he has also spoken about Madhya Pradesh, where Kamal Nath government lost, saying that we had our doubts there and in Lok Sabha. So his list...
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nation at 5. A day after an NI court acquitted all 7 accused in the Malegaon blast case, a sensational claim has now been made by a former ATS officer that was part of the investigation team. He's exposed a startling claim. Retired Inspector Mehboob Mujair has now alleged that he was ordered to apprehend RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat to support the theory of saffron terror. He refused to do so, however, he claims, citing lack of evidence. Now, this comes after the trial court acquitted all of these 7 accused, including former BJP MP Pragya Singh Thakur. This former ATS officer has also criticized the agency that he was working for fabricating evidence and calling the verdict a correction of these fake actions. Calling it a serious revelation, Maharashtra Chief Minister has said that it is proven beyond doubt that this was not just political vendetta, but a deliberate attempt to malign one section of the society.
आपने दावा किया है कि मालेगांव जांच में हेरा फेरी की गई थी, आपको क्या निर्देश दिए गए थे? सबसे पहले तो ये बताइए।
ये मालेगांव बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट के अंदर एक छोटा सा पार्ट का इन्वेस्टिगेशन में काम करने के लिए मेरे को नियुक्त किया गया था और उसमें खास करके रामजी कल संग्रह संदीप गांधी उनके लिए मेरे को तपास में दिया गया था, उनका मेरा बहुत चेक करने के लिए वो कहाँ है क्या है। तो वो तपास करते करते उसमें मेरे को एक आदेश दिया गया था कि तुम मोहन भागवत को आदरणीय मोहन भागवत को उठा के लाओ। वैसे तपास के अंदर में जब तपास कर रहा था तो ये सब बेफजूल की बातें हैं, मनगढ़ंत बातें हैं, ऐसे काम में मेरे को लगाया गया है। फिर भी मैं नागपुर में रुका, नागपुर में गया, इंदौर में तपास किया, अजमेर में जाके तपास किया, कर्नाटक में बहुत सारे जगह में तपास किया। तो ये उनके ध्यान में आया कि ये काम नहीं कर रहा है और इसको सब बातें मालूम है, इस वजह से मेरे पे झूठी केस किया। तो झूठी केस के अंदर मेरे को अरेस्ट किया गया। अरेस्ट होने के बाद मैं वो केस चली, उसके अंदर में ये पूरे इन्वेस्टिगेशन के जो भी मेरे पार्ट थे, जो मेरा पार्ट था, वो पूरे डॉक्यूमेंट ये मोहन भागवत जी के संबंध में जो भी मेरे पास डॉक्यूमेंट थे वो एफिडेविट के साथ मैंने यहाँ के कोर्ट में पेश किया और मैं निर्दोष छूटा, छूट के भी 12-15 साल हो गए। और ये डॉक्यूमेंट मेरे जो एफिडेविट है, मैं जो भी रिकॉर्ड पे बताया था तपास के अंदर जो हेरा फेरी थी उसके बारे में मैं डिटेल में बताया था, लिखित में बताया था, एफिडेविट दे के बताया था और मेरे जो एविडेंस है वो कोर्ट में पेश किया, तो मेरी केस निर्दोष हो गई। वही डॉक्यूमेंट बाद में अभी न्याय कोर्ट में भी चले गए और वो वर्डिक्ट अभी आया, तो मेरे को खुशी है कि जो वर्डिक्ट आया वो अच्छा है। और मेरे जो बॉस थे वो परमवीर सिंह थे और उसके हायर ऑफिसर, उनके निर्देश से मैं काम कर रहा हूँ।
ये जो 2008 का षड्यंत्र है ये सभी के सामने अब खुल चुका है और उस समय की जो सरकार है, इस सरकार ने वोट की राजनीति के लिए हिंदू टेरर और भगवा आतंकवाद ये शब्द तैयार किए थे। उसके चलते हमको जो वोट देने वाले लोग हैं इनमें गुस्सा निर्माण न हो या उनको ये लगे कि हम बैलेंस करते हैं, इसलिए ये हिंदू आतंकवाद की पूरी थियरी तैयार की गई, लोगों को अरेस्ट किया गया। राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के अधिकारी पदाधिकारी इनको टारगेट करने का ये षड्यंत्र था।
महबूब जी ने खुलासा किया है कि उनके जो उच्च अधिकारी थे, जो वो ATS को हेड करते थे और जो सरकार के बड़े लोग थे, उन्होंने बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर डाला था महबूब जी के ऊपर, ATS के ऊपर, कि किसी भी कीमत पर इस भगवा आतंकवाद विमर्श को, इस सैफरन टेरर नैरेटिव को और आगे बढ़ाने के लिए RSS अर्थात राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के आदरणीय सरसंघ चालक माननीय श्री मोहन भागवत जी को गिरफ्तार करना चाहिए। जो बड़े अधिकारी थे उन्होंने कुछ इल्जाम लगाए। Some damning charges were pressed upon this ATS officer, Mr. Mahbub Muzaffar.
Yasha, my colleague now joins us, getting us more details and perspective on this. Yasha, these are sensational claims that have been made coming on the back of what the court observed yesterday, that ATS fabricated evidence, that they didn't have any clear evidence to point to the theory that they were kind of spinning. But there are certain names that have now come to the fore as well, like Parambir Singh, that at his orders, these attempts were being made to frame certain people. Any response from those people?
Absolutely. In fact, so far we've not really heard from any of these people. This is not the first time that such allegations are being made. In fact, those who were arrested as an accused in the Malegaon case have also made these allegations against several ATS officers, including Parambir Singh. Now here in their statements as well as a part of the court hearing, they'd gone further to mention that they were there was assault that was made on them, that some of them were in fact made to give their statements under duress, and as a part of the ongoing investigation and as a part of the entire court probe, NIA had in fact further went ahead to also mention that all the investigation and the evidence that they were relying on the basis of the ATS investigation was basically just confessional statements. However, most of these people in fact went on record in the court to say that they were made to give the statements and the pressure that they were beaten up to and asked to admit their crime. So clearly now that is something that's also come on record. In fact, the statement that Mujawar Mahmood is making was also a part of his witness statement in the court, wherein he'd gone to mention that he was asked to go ahead and arrest Mohan Bhagwat, and also has also gone ahead to confess that he was made to do this under pressure by Parambir Singh, who was then an ATS officer himself, but he refused to do so. In fact, apart from that, he also said that the whole link was to establish connections to two people who were mentioned as an accused in this case, that is Ramji Kalaskar and Dange. However, when it comes to Ramji Kalaskar's road, it was established that he was the one who was using this bike. This bike was the same bike that was established as the bike which was owned by Sadhvi Pragya, the LML motorbike, where it was said that the RDX were planted on that bike. However, as a part of the investigation, it was also found out that this LML bike, though it was in the name of Sadhvi Pragya, she was not the one using it. It was Kalaskar who was using this bike for 1.5 years. Over the point of time, the investigating agencies have said that Kalaskar and Dange have been absconding, but in his statement, it is Mahmood Mujawar who's also gone ahead to say that both of them were bumped off, and that is why the agencies have been calling them absconding. In fact, he's gone on record to say that yes, this was a manipulative investigation by ATS. Now, this was something that's clearly out in forth, and which is where we've also seen how the court yesterday, while giving its order, happened to mention that because there was no reasonable doubt that was being established against all of these accused, was where they were all being acquitted. So clearly now Mujawar Mahmood has come out and open to speak about his stance, and in fact when all of these people who have been acquitted from the case, 7 of them, they also said that it was fair on their part. Clearly they would now want people who have actually committed this terror act to be brought to books, because they've said that it was an investigation which was just a plot to frame them, and amidst all of this was where ATS had tried to bring to book some of these people. But clearly when it comes to the court investigation, they've said that all of these allegations that have been put forth by the investigating agencies, none of them are actually being proved. Be it the fact that Abhinav Bharat was had funded terror attack, that was something that was not being proved. Whether this LML bike belonged to Sadhvi was also not being proved because the chassis number was not available. And apart from that, the links of several of these people, whether RDX was actually planted or was kept at the accused's place, was also not something that had enough evidences to be proved. So all of these allegations were not being proved, and which is very obvious with more than 323 witnesses who had recorded the statement, but 37 had turned hostile in it. Several of them also passed away as a part of the during the course of court trial.
And the case saw a lot of twists and turns. For 17 years, that case has been going on. Several people were discharged while the charge sheet was formed, while the charge sheet was filed by the NIA. Several people turned hostile, like Yasha was also pointing out. But the verdict that came out and the revelations that have come to the fore today have all triggered a massive political fight both in Maharashtra and across the country. Let's listen into some of those political reactions.
मालेगांव में ब्लास्ट हुआ था, तब इंडियन मुजाहिदीन का भी एक उस वक्त आया था. उसके बाद इस केस को लेकर कहा गया कि भगवा आतंकवाद है ये.
देखिए, पता नहीं किसने शब्द भगवा का यूज किया था, चाहे मेरे सहकारियों ने, मेरी पार्टी के लोगों ने कहा, तो मेरी उनको करबद्ध निवेदन है कि भगवा शब्द का प्रयोग ना करिए. विशेषकर महाराष्ट्र में भगवे रंग का कुछ अर्थ अलग होता है. ये स्वतंत्रता की निशानी है. छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज के ध्वज का रंग भगवा था. इतना ही नहीं कि हमारे वारकरी संप्रदाय में चाहे संत ज्ञानेश्वर हो, संत तुकाराम हो, वारकरी हो, भगवा रंग का इस्तेमाल करते हैं. तो भगवा हमारे लिए पवित्र है. अगर आपको इन लोगों को डिस्क्राइब करना तो आप इनको हिंदुत्व आतंकवादी बोलिए, या इनको कोई सनातनी बोलिए, लेकिन भगवा कृपा करके न बोलिए। अब सवाल ये है कि आतंकवादियों का कोई मजहब नहीं होता, कोई धर्म नहीं होता, कोई जात नहीं होती, और इसमें एक ही बात है कि मालेगांव बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट में आरोपियों को सजा दिलवाने में मोदी सरकार असफल रही है।
पहली बार जब भगवा आतंकवाद जो शब्द का इस्तेमाल किया गया था, उस वक्त यूपीए की सरकार में जो लोग थे, जैसे चिदम्बरम ने इस शब्द का इस्तेमाल किया था, सुशील कुमार शिंदे ने भगवा आतंकवाद करके कहा था, और साथ में दिग्विजय सिंह ने भी यही शब्द का इस्तेमाल किया था।
मैंने गुजारिश की, मेरे अपने साथियों से भी गुजारिश की कि कृपा करके भगवे शब्द का इस्तेमाल ना करिए, भगवा हमारे लिए पवित्र है। लेकिन किसी ने तो अंजाम दिया इसको। तो अब आपने जो आज जो फैसला आया, इसका मतलब किसी ने नहीं बॉम्ब स्फोट किया। जो लोग 6 लोग गुजर गए, निरपराध व्यक्ति थे, बेगुनाह व्यक्ति थे, उनके परिवारजनों को अब क्या बताएंगे, क्या अमित शाह बताएंगे जाके?
मालेगांव के बम कांड मामले में उस समय जांच करने वाले ATS अफसर ने खुलकर के कहा है कि उस समय की कांग्रेस सरकार का उन पर दबाव था। साजिश और षड्यंत्र के तहत वे जानबूझ करके संघ परिवार के कुछ नेताओं का, सनातन हिंदू धर्म के लिए काम करने वाले कुछ संगठन के नेताओं का नाम उसमें शामिल करना चाह रहे थे। इस प्रकार का उन पर दबाव था। सवाल यह उठता है, कौन थे वो कांग्रेस के नेता? क्या इसके पीछे उनकी रणनीति थी? सनातन हिंदू धर्म को बदनाम करना? कांग्रेस दल को इसका खामियाजा भुगतना होगा।
गलत है उसका बयान। मोहन भागवत को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए कभी कोई नहीं कह सकता, न कहा है।
Moving on now to CNN News 18 exclusive news break. The PLA has celebrated its 90th anniversary at the GHQ in Rawalpindi. The symbolic use of the GHQ showcases Pakistan's tilt towards China, the strategic axis between China and Pakistan, another symbolic use of each other. So to say, the Chinese ambassador was also the chief guest at this particular celebration of the 90th anniversary of the PLA in Rawalpindi. True brothers in arms, as many would call them. Anand Narasimhan joining us, getting us more perspective as well. Anand, how is the Indian infrastructure, the Indian intelligence system looking at this?
Well, interestingly, it is the PLA at the GHQ, that is at Rawalpindi, the military headquarters. So the Chinese ambassador is not at Islamabad, where the civilian government has been is elected, and that's where their seat is. Asim Munir has pulled the Chinese ambassador and the PLA into the army headquarters. This is an indication of what is brewing in the coming months, because President Donald Trump also engaged with Asim Munir and not with Shehbaz Sharif. So the Americans also engaging with the Pakistani military, the Chinese also now engaging with the Pakistani military. This is a sign of things to come in Pakistan, where it is really on the cusp of martial law. And somewhere Asim Munir, after getting elevated himself to field marshal, may now be eyeing the president's chair, and we may just see a military dictatorship in Pakistan. That's one aspect. The other part is that there are 2 theaters in this geographically, strategically located Pakistan region. The westward side towards Balochistan, Iran, Afghanistan, and also the eastward and northward side. That is with Bharat and Gilgit-Baltistan and the POJK region, where China has its strategic interest because of CPEC, because of Siachen, and because of the entire region there, which is handed over in terms of their own projects engaging into occupied territory, Chinese occupied territory, Tibet, etc. Now, because of these strategic reasons, there are two theatres that are in play in Pakistan, and Pakistan is trying to balance both via the army. It's the Pakistani army which has got more than 81% of its military equipment via the Chinese, but the nuclear arsenal, the controls are with the Americans. And the Americans want Balochistan greater skin in the game towards the port side and towards the Afghanistan side, and that's where the 19% tariff rate because of the trade, where America will plunder, loot, and will also have the oil, searching rights, etc. within Pakistan. On the other hand, China wants its CPEC completed. It's been delayed for at least 5-6 years. They've sunk in a lot of money, and they want the connectivity done all the way to the Gwadar port. And for that, they need to engage with the Pakistanis, and that's where this engagement is coming.
Right.
Because till the time this region is not settled, their CPEC project will never see light of day.
Right, Anand, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. We'll keep a track of what's transpiring in our neighborhood. But on that note, a quick break on this edition of Nation at 5.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The opposition, remember, is now going to intensify the entire stir, which so far was limited to the parliament. But Rahul Gandhi has already attacked the Election Commission on the SIR issue. What we are being told is that he's saying that votes are being stolen. He's reiterated that Election Commission is involved in vote theft. Listen in to what the leader of opposition has to say.
पास ओपन एंड शट प्रूफ है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोट चोरी में इन्वॉल्व है, और मैं लाइटली नहीं बोल रहा हूं, मैं 100% प्रूफ के साथ बोल रहा हूं, ठीक है। और आप सबको पता लग जाएगा, जैसे ही हमने ये रिलीज किया, पूरे देश को पता लग जाएगा कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोटर चोरी करा रहा है। किसके लिए करा रहा है? किसके लिए करा रहा है? बीजेपी के लिए करा रहा है। ओपन एंड शट है, नो क्वेश्चन। हमें मध्य प्रदेश में सस्पिशन था, लोकसभा में सस्पिशन था, महाराष्ट्र में वो थोड़ा आगे गया, स्टेट लेवल पे हमें लगा कि यहां पे चोरी हुई है, वोटर एडिशन हुआ था, 1 करोड़ वोटर्स ऐड हुए थे। फिर हम थोड़ा डिटेल में गए, हमने कहा देखो अब इलेक्शन कमीशन तो मदद नहीं कर रहा है, तो थोड़ी ग्रैन्युलैरिटी में जाना है, गहराई में जाना है। तो हमने अपना ही इन्वेस्टिगेशन करवाया, उसमें 6 महीने लगे, और जो हमें मिला है वो एटम बॉम्ब है। मतलब एटम बॉम्ब है, फटेगा तो आप इलेक्शन कमीशन आपको दिखेगा नहीं हिंदुस्तान में।
Claims coming in from the leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi. Remember, it's not the first time that he's accused the EC of stealing votes for the BJP, but this comes again on a day when the voter draft has been released by the EC in the state of Bihar. Pallavi Ghosh joins me with more perspective on that news story. Pallavi should be joining us in just a bit. But remember, Rahul Gandhi has reiterated that he has proof, and not just any proof. He's gone on to label it as proof which is an atom bomb. Once that will be released, will not in fact leave the EC with any face saving. But it's important that he is now indicating that they are all set to release that evidence in some time from now. As Arunima was highlighting, that these political parties, even the ones in the opposition, have been given a copy of the SIR draft roll out, and one that will also be uploaded at 3 p.m. today for public consumption. But these parties have their hands on this, and keeping all of this in mind, Rahul Gandhi is stepping out in the parliament, making that claim that he will be exposing the Election Commission, reiterating his accusation that the Election Commission is stealing votes of the people of Bihar. He's also referred to the assembly elections in Maharashtra, even MP. Arunima joins me on the phone line with more inputs. So Arunima, as you were highlighting earlier, that Rahul Gandhi is already now creating a stir, rather intensifying the stir by making that claim that he's going to expose that evidence, which is an atom bomb, as he's claimed. But give us a sense of how the strategy that Rahul Gandhi is now going to be following.
See, he has been...
Well, President Donald Trump trying to impose a certain pressure and also to a certain level stare down at Bharat, called Bharat a dead economy along with Russia, where he seems to have suddenly opened hostilities after President Putin continues to push on what is Russia's agenda. So if President Trump wants to make America great again, President Putin wants to make Russia great again, and Bharat wants to make India or make Bharat great again. So each nation pushing for its own ideas. The government very clearly saying that a deal has to be a win-win. Both sides need to gain. It cannot be a one-sided or one-way traffic. But those remarks being picked up by the opposition and Rahul Gandhi there also saying Bharat is a dead economy. Joining us now, let's go straight across to him, a member of the PMEAC, Shri Gaurav Vallabh. Gaurav Vallabh ji, namaste, Jai Hind, thank you for your time. I just want to understand from you, is Bharat a dead economy, sir?
See, Anand, let's talk with the data. I don't want to make statements like what the leader of opposition is making statements. In the entire emerging economies of the world, emerging economies means large economies and developed economies, India is the only country with a forecasted growth rate of 6.5 to 7% GDP growth, and inflations are under 3%. So a country with a growth forecast of 7%, 6.5 to 7%, and inflation under 3%, and a leader of opposition living in India, earning his bread and butter, earning his growth is also happening because of the GDP's growth, living in India and saying that India is a dead economy. I think that is something extremely wrong, and I will say it is a blunder on the part of the leader of opposition, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, saying India is a dead economy. No large economy of the world is even having half of the GDP growth of India. Means if India is growing at 7%, no large economy is growing at 3.5% also. And people used to say in West that only star in the global economy is India. That's what people, the economists of the world used to say. And leader of opposition, Shri Rahul Gandhi ji, living in India, making this statement for his own country, I think it's a wrong politically, wrong emotionally, wrong from the patriotic perspective, wrong from the perspective of the feeling of nationalism. So I will say he had done a historical blunder, saying that Indian economy is dead for Rahul Gandhi. If he is listening my telecast, he should tomorrow go to Parliament and in Parliament stand up and say, I regret for my statement saying India is a dead economy. India is a brightening star of the global economy. India is the only economy which is standing at high growth, low inflation. Indian economy, whether foreign exchange reserves are concerned, whether demographic dividends are concerned, whether unemployment rate is concerned, whether growth in service sector is concerned, whether the number of patents and number of copyrights growth is concerned, whether ease of doing business ranking is concerned, in all parameters, Indian economy had outperformed their counterparts in last 11 years. So saying India is dead, they are mentally dead. The guys who are saying India is a dead economy, they are mentally bankrupt and dead.
But one of the people who said that Bharat is a dead economy is also the President of the United States of America.
Hey, Anandji, I am not here to comment on any global leader or any, because I am not his voter. So I'm not paying my tax to him. I am paying my tax to the government of India. So I am accountable, responsible, and I feel happy when Indian economy grows. I feel sad when Indian economy is not growing as per expectation. So I don't want to comment on the global leader because I am not his voter. But in our country, Anandji, a person occupying a leader of opposition, constitutional position, saying that India is a dead economy is a sin. He had committed पाप. ये पाप है, ये देश के खिलाफ वक्तव्य है और ये politically भी highly incorrect वक्तव्य. So I don't know where he wants to score. Only thing in his mind, when I say in his mind, Mr. Rahul Gandhi's mind, is that he just want to attack Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Arey, you can't do that. He had grown and he took the country with him. 29 countries of the world gave their highest civilian awards to our Prime Minister. We should be proud of that. We should feel happy about that.
But Gauravji, what happens is that somewhere the lines get blurred between targeting a leader or the Prime Minister and somewhere hurting the cause of the country. Sometimes those lines get blurred and oftentimes they're not there at all when it comes to the opposition. But as an economist, let me ask you, because you said कि भारत की economy suffer होगी तो मैं भी suffer हूँ, मुझे भी दुख होगा. This entire tariff tantrum by Donald Trump, there are estimates which say that it could shave off up to 0.5% of Bharat's GDP. Do you agree, disagree?
No. Just try to understand one by one all points. The entire world, Anandji, is going towards economic nationalism. This is a new word. The entire world is moving towards deglobalization. Like MAGA. What is MAGA? It is economic nationalism. So President Trump are targeting those countries where America's current account deficit is negative. So United States approximately imports goods from India to the tune of something around 85 to 90 billion dollar. And they export something around 45 billion dollar to India. So they had a CAD deficit of around 45 billion dollar. So they are targeting and they are talking about economic nationalism. They are talking about deglobalization. Now, Indian economy, Anandji, is having a very strong one fundamental, which is not there with many emerging economies, that ours is not export dependent economy. Ours is a consumption driven economy. Like, just for your reference, the total exports which Indian economy made to United States is around 2% of GDP. Out of those 2% of GDP, around 1%, 1.5% of commodity doesn't come under the 25% tariff also. Because there are special arrangements for those commodities, like pharmaceuticals. The remaining commodities which they are talking about is still, as you can see, I can say, in the best interest of both US and India, the decision to implement the 25% tariff was postponed by 7 more days. And I see, Anandji, an opportunity of recalibration. What I mean by recalibration, I will give you 2-3 examples. Like our import from Russia's crude oil was less than 2% or around 2% in 2022. Today, it is 36%. Means if we are importing 100 barrels of crude, 36 barrels are coming from Russia. And in 2022, it was only 2 barrels. Why? It was only 2 barrels. Why it had happened? Because we were getting the benefits in the form of the prices by importing crude oil from Russia.
And also direct conversion, rupee to ruble.
Yeah. And now that benefit is more or less settled. Means it's still there is a benefit, but the benefit, earlier the benefit was of this amount, now it is here. Somewhat. So we can recalibrate on this. Second, India's, and I always used to say, Anandji, in the last 2 months, we were talking about our military dominance over Pakistan. highly successful Operation Sindoor, the precision and the objectivity of Operation Sindoor, but Operation Sindoor have a very big impact on Indian economy.
Right.
And I will give you an example. India was not in the world's first 10 countries as far as the defense exports are concerned. Now, with our precision, with our technology, the way, and Prime Minister himself in the Parliament had mentioned कि 1,000 से ज़्यादा मिसाइलें आई.
जी.
But none of that missile from Pakistan were able to touch Bharat Mata. Why? Because of our technology.
Right.
Because of we are not propagating Iron Dome. See, actual Iron Dome is India. 1,000 missile, nobody is able to touch the India.
Correct.
Bharat Mata की भूमि पर एक missile touch नहीं हुई. So the entire world, and I can predict as an economist, I'm not talking to you as a politician.
Right.
As an economist, I'm saying that the defense sector is exponentially going to grow in the next 5 to 7 years. From major countries of the world, we are going to receive a big technology-oriented defense equipments order, and our exports on defense is going to grow.
So that will somewhere perhaps also mitigate certain pressures that certain other
Correct.
nations would want to impose on it.
That's what Anandji, I was saying, recalibration.
Right. So
like other economies of the world, Indian economy is also recalibrating.
Well, we'll have this entire conversation, a larger conversation on economic nationalism and this need for recalibration very soon. Gaurav Vallabhji, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for putting things simply and very succinctly for our viewers. Thank you. Namaste. And on that, it's time for Plain Speak.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. It seems the bullying tactic employed by US President Donald Trump in the guise of the 25% tariff announcement isn't really working. India is standing tall, unwilling to budge, at least not for underhanded tactics. Not new to these tactics by Western powers, including the US in the past, India maintains it will put its interests first. But apart from buying Russian oil, which is not a new phenomenon, and not buying all of its defense equipment from the US, which is also not new for India, there is something else that seems to be irking the porters this time, and that's the dream of a Nobel Peace Prize. What else explains that the same man who cut funding for Pakistan for its lies and deceit not so long ago is now cozying up uncharacteristically to the country and its military head now, because he's trying to poke India and get a thank you out of us. It's clear US didn't cause the ceasefire during the recent conflict between India and Pakistan. At best, it may have urged both sides to tone it down. India anyways had Pakistan handled. So why should Trump be thanked? The question really is, should India hit back in Trump's tone or maintain its dignified posture that it has so far? And should India at all pander to Trump like Pakistan has to curry favors? We'll take that and more with our guest joining us in just a bit. First up, take a look at reasons, and there are many, why Trump is frustrated, lashing out at India. But do any of these reasons warrant that India should give in? Or is the US president only trying to use his position to bully India? He's frustrated because India wouldn't concede on dairy and agriculture as far as the recent negotiations on the trade deal are concerned. But why shouldn't India watch out for its own interests? After all, this is supposed to be a bilateral deal that works for both. India refuses to stop buying Russian oil. It has said that it has to do what is required for itself and depending on the market conditions. And this didn't benefit just India, it benefited Europe too, Donald Trump's friends too. Meanwhile, US and the rest also buy items that are crucial for them from Russia. This whole sanctions business is frankly completely hypocritical. India wants to keep its defense procurement diversified and not put all of its eggs in the US basket. Can you blame India for it? Particularly after this recent episode of behavior from the US administration, especially vis-a-vis Pakistan, our enemy. Finally, India refuses to credit Trump for his so-called mediation between India and Pakistan, dashing his dreams of winning a Nobel Peace Prize. But this attempt has become all too transparent. But what exactly is Trump seeking credit for? That question should also be asked, because here's what transpired in the intervening night of May 9th and 10th, irrespective of whatever Trump says. And actually, the US hasn't refuted India's claims. On May 9th, US Vice President J.D. Vance dialed Prime Minister Modi at least 3-4 times. His calls weren't immediately answered because Prime Minister was holding a meeting with army officials, as he has recently revealed in Parliament. But then Prime Minister did return his call. Vance warned that Pakistan is planning a big attack, to which the Indian Prime Minister just said that India will respond to it accordingly. Following which, Pakistan did launch a massive drone and missile attack and was met with an equal or more reaction. In fact, it was pummeled by India and its air superiority, an attack that Pakistan had never anticipated. To this day, Pakistan and the rest of the world is stunned by what India could manage. The next day, on May 10, Pakistan DGMO dials our DGMO, proposes for hostilities to be ceased, and both sides mutually agreed to halt military action. So the question that needs to be asked here is, what was the United States role, which was so crucial that India couldn't handle this matter on its own? India did handle this on their own. Right after Trump began cozying up to Pakistan, because India is not giving him a thank you that he wants so publicly. On June 18, he thanked Munir for ending the war with India, also praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi, thereby hyphenating not just the two countries, but even the two leaders. It was followed by hosting, of course, that lunch with Pakistani Army Chief Asim Munir at the White House, the first time a US president has ever done something of this kind, where someone who's not the head of state was sitting in a lunch with the US president. Returning the favor now, Pakistan, of course, formally recommended Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, citing his, quote, decisive diplomatic intervention. Now, that suits them. Struck a deal with Pakistan to develop nation's oil reserves and also expressed interest in sunrise sectors such as cryptocurrencies, while Pakistan, of course, plans to legalize and regulate digital assets as the field gains traction in key Asian markets. The question is, India doesn't have to do what Pakistan does. If that is what Donald Trump's problem is, then is it just a he problem, just a you problem, not a we problem? Donald's not loving it, but is it really just Nobel dreams that are driving his tantrums? And why should India give in, given its long-term approach?
The president has now ended conflicts between Thailand and Cambodia, Israel and Iran, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, India and Pakistan, Serbia and Kosovo, and Egypt and Ethiopia. This means President Trump has brokered, on average, about one peace deal or ceasefire per month during his 6 months in office. It's well past time that President Trump was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
India came to the table early. They've been slow rolling things, so I think that the president, the whole trade team's a bit frustrated with them. And also, you know, India's been a large buyer of sanctioned Russian oil that they then resell as refined products. So, you know, they have not been a great global actor.
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Brahmachaleni is strategic affairs expert. Prakash Sharma is a foreign policy expert. And Sujata Paul, Congress spokesperson, all with us. Brahmachaleni, I begin with you. You know, lots of criticism coming in, whether India read the room right with Donald Trump, whether they have dealt with Donald Trump correctly. But if the problems that I've listed are the problems that Donald Trump has, you know, not giving in on the deal, being part of BRICS, not buying all of its defense equipment from US and not thanking him for India, Pakistan. Should India give in at all? Is any of the criticism that India hasn't handled Donald Trump correctly fair?
It has nothing to do with India's approach or India's policy. It has everything to do with Trump and his objectives. We should not forget that he is targeting 3 independent powers that are leading democracies of the global south: Brazil, South Africa, and India. These are the 3 targets of Trump. Let's ask why. Why is he targeting Brazil, India, and South Africa? One reason is that these are 3 independent democracies of the global south. He doesn't like India being independent. This old approach of US foreign policy, with us or against us, is again becoming central to American foreign policy. And also we should keep in mind what Trump's strategy is in terms of tariffs. He's weaponizing tariffs and globalizing their use. In other words, he's reshaping America's sanction strategy. His administration is increasingly sidelining traditional sanctions tools in favor of tariffs. Tariffs have become the new sanctions, the preferred instrument for advancing not just America's economic interests, but also its geopolitical objectives. Now, this is very clear in relation to India. For example, the trade deal that he's seeking with India aims to constrain India's independent foreign policy approach by binding India more closely to the US through expanded purchases of American energy and weapons, and by granting Washington unfettered access to the vast and fast-growing Indian market, which is the biggest market in the world today in terms of rapid expansion and future potential. It's the Indian market. So India has great leverage, and India should exercise that leverage. Let me make one final point here, which is that there is some misconception about what the US was seeking. For example, it was not just India being forced to open up its agricultural and dairy markets. Trump's dream was insisting that even under a trade agreement, the US will retain a high tariff on Indian goods. It would be 20% tariff rate, 20% tariff rate, mirroring what the US has imposed on Vietnam, and almost similar to what the US has imposed on Indonesia and Philippines. Indonesia and Philippines have accepted 19% tariff, while Vietnam has accepted 20% tariff. Now, in return, India gets nothing. India, in fact, is forced to commit to charging zero tariffs on most imports from the US. Now, that is not a trade agreement between two sovereign equals. It is like India as a vassal state of the US. Obviously, no Indian government will accept that.
In simple terms, Brahmachaleni, in simple terms, is that what Donald Trump is trying to do? Make India a vassal state, not understanding that this is something that has been unacceptable to us since our independence, and we have faced far worse in the face of such tactics.
India was under US-led sanctions for more than 3 decades. And India did not give up its independent approach to foreign policy. Successive governments in India have hewed to an independent foreign policy approach. That approach will not, especially under brute coercion, the coercion of the type that Trump is employing, India will not wilt under that kind of coercion, because this is a cardinal principle of Indian foreign policy, independence. No government in India, not even a future government of India, will cede that cardinal principle.
Let me play devil's advocate, and let me go across to Prakash Sharma as well. You know, several people have suggested, some experts have suggested, why don't you give Trump, for example, that thank you that he's been asking for? Should India concede?
We need to understand what is our priorities. Our priority is, the civilian of India, the citizen of India, and Indians diaspora worldwide. So our priority is Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we need the equal treatment. So ultimately, in a world of diplomacy, like whatever he is doing, and before asking this question, rather we should understand what Trump has did till now. It's not in the context of India. Like if you will say on their local level, what USA, what is happening, and in which particular part he has did. So we can see a lot of controversial statements are there, a lot of the controversial things are there, and this is happening just a pressure tactics where including Japan is coming under the pressure. Now the Indian the leadership is so strong, the foreign policy is so strong, and we understand the geopolitical situation of us. So this is a particular, you can say, kind of frustration to us. And I don't think this is needed. If need will be there, the government is doing the right things. And we have seen it in all the party, what's happening worldwide. Despite having all the things, India is making its independent state and independent stand as well. So where the war is there, so like we have also said about the peace, wherever some the national calamity or some unnatural things happen, we have helped there. The government has did a very swift response and scalability during the COVID pandemic. So how we have faced and how we have served the world in a scalability manner from the small country to the developed country. So we can see, and Mr. Chilani was rightly pointing out the strong global south. So a strong global south is a particular part where India is making high advocacy about it, and India is a prominent leader about it.
Yeah, and he has a problem not just with Global South, but also with BRICS. So what are you going to do about it? You're not going to give up every relationship in this world for Donald Trump just because he wants to negotiate in a certain way. So, Jata Paul, the Congress party has been very critical of what has transpired between India and US recently. Fair enough, relationships seem to have plummeted when they were burgeoning and very buoyant at one time. But can you criticize the Indian government of having done anything to invite this? Or would you also concede that Donald Trump and the US administration are being unfair with India? What would you have the Indian government do differently to placate him?
Good evening, Shivani, to my co-panelists and to your audiences. Most important to understand is that Mr. Donald Trump is a bully. And unless you stand up to a bully will not cow down. And that is what the problem is. Because if you compare what is happening with us and what is happening with China vis-a-vis US, they have given them a time relief. Why have they given a time relief to China? Why not to us? Why is Mr. Trump, so aggressive about what he wants? Because he's simply a bully, and we need to tell him to stay away. Do you remember Indira Gandhi ji? She went to the US, how Mr. Richard Nixon was behaving, and yet she told him it is nobody's business to interfere in what India does with whom. And that is what our foreign policy has been. We
but Sujata Paul, you make a fair point.
Non-aligned movement. Let me complete. Just 10 seconds. We were always non-aligned. So we did not, we never interfered in anybody's problems. But what stood well for us, we did that. So if there was oil to be bought from Russia, who has been our long-time ally, we have been doing it. Who is Mr. Donald Trump to be saying it now? It is very important that Mr. Modi, who organized this Howdy Trump, Namaste Trump, or whatever, Howdy Modi programs, he needs to stand up and tell Mr. Trump that 140 crore people of this country are telling it to mind his own business. We will do exactly what we want.
No, but Sujata Paul, the difference really is that the way, let's say, Nixon behaved with Indira Gandhi and the way Donald Trump is used to behaving is very different. You know, obviously we all know Donald Trump doesn't conduct his business or diplomacy, if we can even call it that, the way former US presidents may have. So there was room for leaders to speak to each other and make themselves heard. Surely Indira Gandhi also wouldn't call Nixon names in public domain. Are you suggesting that Indian Prime Minister should, come down to the level that Donald Trump is displaying, or should we maintain our dignity?
No, it is very important that a clear message should be given to Mr. Donald Trump that we are a country of 1.4 billion and we refuse to listen to whatever you have to say. You can talk about whoever you want. You want the Nobel Prize. You can go around flip-flopping about it. You can target other nations, but we are a strong nation and you will not interfere.
And you feel that message has not... You feel that message has not been given by India so far? The very fact that negotiations have been so frustrating for the US means we are not giving in.
No, you know what is happening is, Shivani, on your program only, many BJP supporters have said that, and why are the BJP spokespersons not attending these debates? The reason is very clear, that they have been told to keep quiet. So what is it that is stopping us from giving a clear answer to Mr. Donald Trump? Because, hugging is not foreign policy. Hugging is not diplomacy. It is a stern, firm stand that a country should be showing, because we need to be united when somebody is threatening us like this. We are facing threats from our border nations, and now this gentleman will come and he's going to threaten that we are going to buy oil from Pakistan. How dare he? And this message should go to him clearly that 1.4 billion people are saying that we do not agree to it, and that is what the Prime Minister should be saying through his own mouth.
Brahmachaleni, do you think India should adopt a more take it or leave it, or a more in-your-face kind of a demeanor with Donald Trump, if that's the language he speaks? I mean, Canada did it to a certain extent. Brazil is doing it to a certain extent. What is it that is stopping India?
Trump is playing hardball with India, a tactic he has frequently employed with friend and foe alike. often he plays hardball to increase his negotiating leverage. India should leverage the fact that it is the world's giant economy, the fastest growing economy, even in terms of growth as well as in future potential. And you can't play nice with Trump. If you play nice with Trump, he is going to increase the pressure on India. Now look at what we have done so far. When Trump slapped India with tariffs on Indian auto parts, steel and aluminum exports, we did not retaliate. We merely notified the WTO. The WTO is a dysfunctional international institution. We notified the WTO to placate our domestic opinion. We notified the WTO that we would consider imposing retaliatory tariffs against the US, but we did not. So far, we have not imposed any retaliatory tariffs in response to Trump's earlier tariffs on Indian auto parts, steel and aluminum exports. Those tariffs remain in place.
No, but Brahmacharya, you could argue that so far we were being, a little bit more accommodative because we had this deal negotiations go on. I want to understand from you, as far as the Prime Minister of the country is concerned, should he be naming Donald Trump and saying, oh, no, this will not work, since Donald Trump doesn't shy away from naming India and Modi all the time? That is the question that people are asking. Should there be a more aggressive stance in giving it back in statements to US?
Not in statements, and certainly not Modi intervening himself. That would make things very ugly, and in fact, it would unnecessarily lead to a downward spiral in relations, because Modi has a personal rapport with Trump. He should actually seek to use that at an opportune time, not now, at an opportune time, to diffuse things and to secure a deal that's favorable to Indian interests.
Okay.
But faced with the choice of negotiating with the US or retaliating with its counter tariffs, India earlier chose negotiation, as you rightly point out, Shivani, and entered negotiations in good faith with Washington. Now that Trump has already slapped a 25% tariff rate on all Indian goods, plus he is also imposing a punitive levy for India buying Russian oil.
Yes.
India cannot sit back and play nice now. Now, now the choice is very clear that we have to hit back. We have to retaliate. Otherwise, if we continue to shy away from any kind of retaliation, this will only embolden the bully in the White House.
Yes. Prakash Sharma, not only has India made its stance very clear, we're also learning through some reports that if at all India was to consider those F-35 deal, that certainly is not going to happen now. And I think already, given what happened vis-a-vis India, Pakistan, and before these tariffs came into place, even then people were feeling very jittery about the kind of way the US administration was behaving. The right way to go about it is that you, keep working on the negotiations, but also, of course, send a message to US that, no matter how much you try to bully us, we're not going to buy from you if it doesn't serve our purpose. And we're not going to stop buying Russian oil. Should India maintain that stance?
One thing is very clear. In this complex world geopolitical situation, India is action-oriented, not the reaction-oriented, number one. Number two, we are continuously, with the patient, we are pursuing the things. The new FTA with this UK is the best example of it. With UAE also, with other countries also, we are in talk, we are doing that. Apart from that, we have to understand the complete ecosystem. Only 2% of our export goes to the US. Now, right now, China has declined their entry of agri and dairy market because that was the biggest market for US earlier. Now, but on that particular, whatever they are doing, because they are doing their own orientation to get American companies, American dairy and this agri companies, the market into the biggest market into India. But we have own our priority. Our farmers are own priority. So whatever we are doing with the eye or eye contact and very patientfully, because this is a long game. And the ultimate the game, if we need to understand, this is the Atmanirbhar Bharat concept, the self-reliance concept, where we are moving ahead and ahead. The defense is the best example. When we was buying a lot into the defense, now we have started making our own defense system. In this particular, the clash, we have seen it. Apart from that, we have also enhanced to, accelerate it just to export into the defense part. Apart from that, one more thing I can say you, in the satellite part also, you can see how progressively we are getting entered into it. So a lot of new markets are there. The chips market is there. The scalability, what we have did with the acceleration of the China, the iPhone, as making the biggest numbers in India. Rather, they cannot be economic over there. Even they produce there into the US. So lot of permutation combination is there. It is not about what he is writing, and ultimately it's a US kind of their own opinion, their own priority is there. Our priority as a party.
But Donald Trump doesn't understand that. Donald Trump is the kind of deal negotiator where there's very little negotiating. You either give him what he wants or he's going to throw a tantrum as he is. But very crucially, before I bring in another angle on his attack on Indian economy, Brahmachaleni, very quickly, I want to understand from you, what is this fixation with the Nobel Peace Prize? I mean, it's almost like groveling for it at this stage.
Well, Trump claims to be a peacemaker. He isn't really a peacemaker. Look what he did recently. He bombed Iran. He has ignored Israel's atrocities, genocide, whatever you call it, in Gaza. He actually shielded Pakistan during India's Operation Sindoor. He recently, just a few days ago, he seeking to woo China, he forced Taiwan's president to cancel his scheduled stopovers in the US on the way and on the way back from Latin America. He pretends to be a peacemaker. He claims to have brokered ceasefires or peace agreements that actually have had no US role. For example, the Rwanda-Congo peace deal. He says he brokered that, but American experts point out that he had no role. Even the US didn't have a role in that peace deal. So, or look at the recent Cambodia, Thailand ceasefire. He made phone calls to Thai and Cambodian leaders. He threatened them that he would impose tariffs on them, high tariffs on them if they didn't cease the fighting. Didn't work. Ultimately, it was ASEAN diplomacy that helped achieve a ceasefire between Thailand and Cambodia.
And like I mentioned, even in India-Pakistan case, all they did was warn us of an attack which Pakistan eventually carried out. Now, we could thank them if they had actually managed to tell Pakistan to stand down. But just warning India that an attack is coming, which India was capable of handling on its own, is not mediating ceasefire, even if you did call different countries. This is just absolutely bizarre. But I do want to focus on another aspect of his attack, which has created ripples in Indian politics, which is his attack on Indian economy. Now, absolutely no leader from any political party, even from the Congress party or any opposition party, has backed Donald Trump's statement, but for leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi. Listen in.
Everybody knows this, except the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. I'm glad that President Trump has stated a fact. पूरी दुनिया जानती है कि इंडियन इकोनॉमी इज अ डेड इकोनॉमी और बीजेपी ने इकोनॉमी को खत्म कर दिया है।
सर, क्या भारत की इकोनॉमी डेड हो चुकी है सर? नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं यार, आपको पता है।
Everybody knows this, except the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. I'm glad that President Trump has stated a fact. पूरी दुनिया जानती है कि इंडियन इकोनॉमी इज अ डेड इकोनॉमी और बीजेपी ने इकोनॉमी को खत्म कर दिया है।
India needs America, America needs India. We are both large economies. We need each other. And the second thing is we also have very strong people-to-people ties. So this is not going to get derailed by somebody making a tweet or putting out a post on social media in the middle of the night.
Everybody knows this, except the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. I'm glad that President Trump has stated a fact. पूरी दुनिया जानती है कि इंडियन इकोनॉमी इज अ डेड इकोनॉमी और बीजेपी ने इकोनॉमी को खत्म कर दिया है।
भारत की इकोनॉमी डेड नहीं, जो हमने आर्थिक सुधार किए
जब नरसिम्हा राव जी और मनमोहन सिंह जी थे, उसके बाद उस आर्थिक सुधारों को आगे वाजपेयी जी ने भी बढ़ाया और उसके बाद मनमोहन सिंह जी ने 10 साल में जो मजबूती प्रदान की और उसके बाद वर्तमान सरकार ने भी जो उसमें काम बढ़ाया, तो हमारी आर्थिक स्थिति कहीं से भी कमजोर नहीं है।
Not even other congressmen, Sujata Paul, are willing to back Donald Trump's statement. What possessed Rahul Gandhi to do so?
Well, the Indian economy is facing a slump, and this is being spoken about all across the world today. It's not just Rahul Gandhi ji who's saying it; he is stating facts. We are facing the greatest downfall in employment. We have become assemble in India from make in India. Made in India is what it used to be, and there is no manufacturing happening. It is all going down because there is monopolization by a few entities who come from Gujarat.
Ma'am, all of the financial criticisms aside, don't you think in the event of an onslaught by a foreign leader, as other Congress leaders have, they should stand not just with the government of the day, but with the country in one voice?
We are patriotic. We are patriotic and we want the best for our country and our countrymen and women. The fact is that if there is something wrong going on, it is not a Donald Trump who will tell us that the economy is going down. It is a fact that we already know. So if you talk about the growth momentum which had built up, like someone just said also that from the time of Mr. PV Narasimha Rao, after that it has been going up. And now, when we talk about there is one thing which needs to be made clear when we say that there is a growth. So, growth percent is what? You are comparing.
I unfortunately don't have time to discuss the health of the economy. The point is very limited. Like other Congress leaders or all opposition leaders, nobody has backed Donald Trump's statement, not even other Congress leaders, but for Rahul Gandhi. Is that what you should be doing? Yes, Mr. Prakash wants to come in. Sir, 30 seconds. I have limited time.
Where is the BJP here today?
See, Shivani, one thing is very clear. Rahul Gandhi needs to be educated first. See, what is the dead economy and what is the normal economy? Number two, we should understand what is the growth percentage.
No, he has a viewpoint. He can speak on that.
I'm not intervening you. Please mind your language. Understand the clarity. Be on truth.
1 second, ma'am. This is not allowed. I'm sorry. You have to allow our other panelists to speak. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, they are always on a street fighter mode. They don't realize the data particular, what to do, how to do, where to do. He is just talking as a spokesman of Donald Trump in India without knowing just into this frustration like Mr. Donald Trump is right now. So this is a particular case study of a frustrated people. In their frustration, just for their self-reliance, they can claim any damn thing without evaluating any data, without studying any data, and they can do anything.
No, criticize the government and its financial policies, but maybe did Rahul Gandhi commit a misstep by ratifying what Donald Trump said against India? That is the only point. Of course, you can criticize the economy and its health and otherwise. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Update in the Malegaon blast case verdict. We have the order copy of the court. The copy has raised serious questions on actions of the Maharashtra ATS, repeatedly mentions that Lieutenant Colonel Purohit was allegedly framed using manipulated and fabricated evidences. Let's also go across to my colleagues joining us. Ananya Bhatnagar, what more can you tell us on the order copy?
Well, definitely, it's in fact more than 1,000 pages of order copy that has come out as far as the Malegaon blast case is concerned. And there have been serious allegations against the Maharashtra ATS that have come in from, in fact, the court. The court has stated very categorically that evidence very categorically suggests that the evidence tilts toward a theory that the planting of RDX was done by ATS officials, and that's exactly what is proved from the evidence, is what the court has noted. Not only that, it stated that Lieutenant Colonel Purohit was somebody who was framed by these ATS officials, and because of a faulty investigation, this has now led, in fact, to a witness turning hostile. In fact, they were the court has also acknowledged how various witnesses, key witnesses, in fact, in this case, were actually tortured, and that's the reason why many of them have turned hostile in this particular case. Though it's 1,000 pages of order copy that has come out, but serious observations against Maharashtra ATS coming to fore. Lieutenant Colonel Purohit's role being said that, he's somebody who's been framed in this particular case. The serious order copy coming in, showing in how investigators had, played a very big game as far as, going as far as planting RDX at somebody else's house is concerned.
Not the first time this has been said. NI itself had said that Sadhvi Pragya was framed by the ATS. Former ATS officer himself has made strong claims about how RSS leaders were being framed. My colleague Anand Narsimhan is also joining us. The order copy says ATS inserted and altered documents to create a false narrative. Very difficult to run away from these questions now.
Yes, and we have a detailed order copy. It's more than 1036 pages, the entire order copy, Shivani, and to our viewers. Just bringing in one of the points that was highlighted on page number 624, where in terms of voice samples that were being collected, the court observes that it was eminently desirable that they were taken before and under the order of the magistrate. So clearly so again, falsification of evidence and also not following due process of law and procedure. Page number 1029, paragraph number 1527. Almost all those witnesses during the course of evidence deposed that they had not given their statements voluntarily, but their statements were taken as dictated under coercion by the officers of the ATS. So serious indictment there. The number of witnesses further alleged that they were subjected to torture, ill treatment and unlawful detention during the course of the investigation. The absence of formal complaints against ATS officers by all such witnesses cannot by itself be grounds to dismiss their testimony as false or unreliable. It is a well-acknowledged aspect of human behavior that the decision to lodge complaints is influenced by various subjective factors, including personal courage, perception of risk, psychological trauma and apprehension of future retaliation. Again, very clearly saying that despite the fact that these people who were not just the witnesses or some of the accused, a lot of the witnesses turned hostile. The entire list is mentioned there, but the role of the ATS is being questioned. It is also necessary to mention paragraph 1529, just quickly reading this. Two prime investigating agencies were involved in this matter, that is ATS and NIA. Both agencies conducted independent investigations and submitted separate charge sheets upon completion thereof. However, the allegations of misconduct, torture, illegal detention have been levelled exclusively against ATS officers, and no such accusations have been made against any officer of the NIA, thus pointing out towards the treatment given by ATS officers to the witnesses is self-sufficient, which raises serious concern and the credibility of evidence collected by the ATS officers during the course of the investigation. Very, very indicting there on the role of the ATS and the manner in which these investigations were conducted by the ATS and the then officers in ATS. Shivani.
Absolutely. And the big question now is, what happens from here on? Will ATS officers of that time be brought to book with these allegations that have come out? I do thank both of my colleagues for joining us. Moving on, in his strongest attack yet on the Election Commission of India, Rahul Gandhi today said he has an atom bomb-like proof against the poll body, and if it detonates, the EC will be wiped out from India. He even took his earlier threat forward, saying whoever is involved from top to bottom, we will not spare you. Even if you are retired, we will find you. Rahul Gandhi has accused the EC of being directly complicit in large-scale voter fraud, aiming to benefit the BJP. He claimed the Congress has open and shut proof of electoral manipulation uncovered through a 6-month independent investigation. Now, here's what the EC has said in the face of repeated statements from Rahul Gandhi. They've said a letter and a mail was sent by the Election Commission to Rahul Gandhi, but he did not respond. Rahul Gandhi has never sent any letter to the EC on any issue whatsoever. The EC added that it's rather strange that he's making wild allegations and has started threatening the poll body and its staff. The Election Commission further added that it won't pay attention to such irresponsible statements and that its officials will continue working impartially and transparently. While questioning Rahul Gandhi's statements, Union Minister Kiren Rijiju rejected the opposition demand for Parliament debate on Bihar SIR, saying this is a procedure of the ECI and no minister can reply on this issue.
राहुल गांधी जिस तरीके से भारत विरोधी भाषा बोलते हैं, उसका विरोध ऑपोजिशन पार्टी भी कर रहे हैं। वो जब जीतते हैं तो सब कुछ चंगा है, और जब हार जाते हैं तो वो इलेक्शन कमीशन के सर पे वो लोग फोड़ देते हैं। ये लोकतंत्र को कमजोर करने के लिए जो षड्यंत्र रचा रहे हैं, उसमें बहुत बड़ा मुझे ये खेल दिखाई देता है। बार बार संवैधानिक संस्था को अटैक करना।
So Rahul Gandhi's atom bomb claim, is Congress resorting to threats and threats that have violent imagery associated with the ECI, and is this fair? That debate is coming up.
जैसे ही हमने ये रिलीज किया, पूरे देश को पता लग जाएगा कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोटर चोरी करा। अब हमारे पास ओपन एंड शट प्रूफ है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोट चोरी में इन्वॉल्व है। मैं 100% प्रूफ के साथ बोल रहा हूं। वो एटम बॉम्ब, मतलब एटम बॉम्ब है, फटेगा तो आप इलेक्शन कमीशन आपको दिखेगा नहीं हिंदुस्तान में।
यही इमरजेंसी का डीएनए है। ये ईसीआई का नहीं, ये ईएमआई का मामला है। इमरजेंसी माइंडसेट ऑफ इंदिराज ग्रैंडसन। ये इमरजेंसी मानसिकता को दिखाता है। कांग्रेस पार्टी इमरजेंसी मानसिकता से ग्रसित होकर आतंकियों की जबान बोल रही है।
Let's go across. Charu Pragya of the BJP joining us. Sujata Paul of the Congress Party still with us. Sujata Paul, if the atom bomb explodes or detonates, you will not find EC anywhere in India. What kind of a statement is this? What kind of a threat is this?
This is a clear threat to the EC to stop working for the BJP, and that is exactly what they're doing. And I'll give you one example.
He admits it's a threat, huh?
Can you just
one
be
by
quiet?
one.
You haven't been asked. You can't control the BJP spokespersons.
No, she's very much in control.
No,
Ma'am, go
nobody
ahead.
can control me.
Okay.
No.
Okay, let's not do this. Let's not do this. You're going to eat into your time only. Let's not do this, please. Sujata Paul.
You know, Shivani, the Panchayat elections of Uttarakhand took place on the 24th and 28th of July, and the results are still coming out. And you know what has happened? The BJP has suffered a major setback. Why? Because there were petitions which were taken to the Honorable High Court, and the courts have ruled that the process by which the election, the voter list was being prepared, the candidates were being allowed to contest was faulty. And that is why today the EC, which was given, the Honorable High Court said that it is up to you what you want to do, but we will tell you to make sure that the voters list should be corrected, and those people whose names are at 2 or more places should not be allowed to contest, and even if they contest, they can be challenged later. And you know what has happened? The BJP has suffered a major setback today. In Maharashtra, 1 crore people were added. In Bihar, at a time when there are floods all over ravaging northern Bihar, when there are seasonal migrations happening for work out of Bihar, there are still 4.74 crore people who are supposed to submit their documents if they want their names in. Their names were taken in, just give me 20 seconds more. Their names were, they were allowed to fill the forms without the documents, but if they don't fill the forms, their names are out because their names are not in the 2003 list. Now, if you talk about the youth of Bihar, 2.8% of the youth have birth certificates. And if they are not able to provide one of these documents, then 2.5 crore of these younger voters' names will be deleted. Is this fair? Is this democracy?
Okay, can I come in now? First of all, this atom bomb proof that Rahul Gandhi talked about, he talked about in context of Karnataka. He has made this threat earlier as well. One is waiting to hear what this concrete proof is. EC says they've not heard from Rahul Gandhi. Yes, Congress has made, of course, petitions before them. But very fact, Sujata Paul, that you said that complaints were made or petitions were filed and they are being heard, the process is being done, means that there are checks and balances. My very quick question to you before I go across to Charu, yes, you may have problems with the way things are happening. Is it fair to threaten the EC the way Rahul Gandhi has done? The language I'm questioning, that we'll come for you, we will not spare you, even if you're retired, we will not spare you, we will explode an atom bomb and you will be nowhere to be found. Ma'am, 30 seconds on just this.
Yes. Yes, I'm so glad my leader has said that, because this documentary trap that they have created, let me tell you, what I was saying was that why should we have to go to the High Court and the Supreme Court every time? It is the EC which should be listening. Our leaders have been asking for time, they wouldn't meet them. You remember the songs that the previous Chief Election Commissioner was singing. So the point is that if you're working for the BJP, then you speak their language. And
Okay.
if they can go anywhere they want.
Otherwise
But
you will
if
be threatened
democracy
with
is
an
under
atom
threat,
bomb exploding on you?
yes, yes. No, atom bomb is when you
Agreed.
see what
This
we
is what
come
I
out
wanted to
with,
pinpoint.
when we
Can I
come
come in
out with the data of only one constituency of Karnataka, this will be an atom
Okay,
bomb.
fair enough.
Which will
Eagerly
explode.
awaiting that. If indeed there is evidence that there is any large-scale rigging and the EC is complicit in it, I would say more power to you and anybody else who brings it out. But so far, none of that proof has come out. In Maharashtra, I'm running the charge versus the rebuttal. Maharashtra has been dropped almost completely now. Congress has moved on to Karnataka and Bihar now. Charu Pragya, the Congress says if you're not going to listen to us, if you're not going to do your job fairly, what else is the opposition supposed to do?
Shivani, a very good evening to you. May I please request that you allow me the same
Sure.
uninterrupted time that you gave to Sujata. Now, Rahul Gandhi is like a petulant child. Can you imagine a 6-year-old who goes out to play cricket? He's bowled out multiple times, but he refuses to leave. He'll throw the bat, he'll throw a tantrum, he'll do everything, except he'll not walk out. So, Rahul Gandhi claims that he's got an atom bomb now. No atom bombs here. He's got a dung bomb which is going to be loud and messy, full of gas, but zero impact, because we have seen him do this time and time again. Every single time, this shifting of the goalpost happens. Now, he's been threatening Election Commission officers. He's threatening them. But from where? The safety of a podium. You have something concrete to say. Have you written even one reply? Replied to one email? Turned up for one meeting? No. The answer is no. So what are you doing? You are not being some courageous revolutionary here. You are being someone who deflects responsibility in a way which is a terrible example to set, and then your spokespersons come on television and happily say, oh yes, we threatened them. So is this the new normal? Is this the politics you want to show? I also want to quickly talk about Maharashtra elections. So Maharashtra elections used to be this big turning point of all Congress-related debates for the longest time. Till we sat down and asked them specifically, you're not even consistent on the number. The number has ranged from 7 lakhs to 70 lakhs and all kinds of figures in between. You remembered Maharashtra, you know when? 6 months after the elections were over. If there was a problem, why didn't you speak up then? If you had any kind of evidence, why was it not presented to us?
No, even if the evidence is coming out now, let's say in the heat of the elections, the processes and everybody's busy with other things, the fighting of the election itself, let's say you couldn't figure out that there were abnormalities. Even if that evidence is coming out now, shouldn't it be looked at very seriously, Charu?
So exactly, but where is the evidence, Shivani? The Election Commission has responded with utmost dignity. Repeatedly, he's been called for a meeting. Has he turned up? They actually did an entire press conference in December 2024 where every point was explained in detail. And if you give me sufficient time, I will go through all these points.
No, I'm running what the EC has said. In fact, Maharashtra has become a big bone of contention, Sujata Paul. Please, I want to focus on the Maharashtra issue right now. Congress had started off by saying that some 70 lakh votes were added. The actual number is about 40 lakhs, just shy of 41 lakhs. Every day, Rahul Gandhi has quoted some different numbers. This whole thing about the last hour surge has been explained by the EC. Former EC commissioners have also said it is not out of the ordinary. There is no evidence that came out in the case of Maharashtra. Now you've shifted the goalpost to Karnataka.
Not at all. We are in power in Karnataka, so we have the freedom to employ government machinery to collect data. In Maharashtra, it is extremely difficult to do it, and that is why we are talking about Karnataka as an example, only one constituency. This should be done everywhere. And
but ma'am, in Maharashtra's case, no, I'm sorry, in Maharashtra's case, Congress did a press conference. Rahul Gandhi himself said he has proof. Where is the proof?
Yes, so no, the proof is all there, because if you look at the number of voters who were added after the elections Lok Sabha elections are taking place and when the assembly elections took place, that if that number is increasing so dramatically, and secondly,
it isn't dramatic. Those statistics have come out, ma'am, since then.
No,
that
no,
41 lakhs voters that were added, given that new voters were added till the end of July or in the period of July, that number is actually not out of the ordinary. It's roughly about 4 to 5%.
What are you saying?
It is not out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it is out of the ordinary because here in Bihar, so many names are getting deleted. And
No, I can only talk about one state. I can't compare two states.
No.
Can I speak now, Shivani?
No, I can't compare two states. You can't compare two states. Different number of electors. The percentages are going to be completely different. Voter deletion and voter addition are two separate issues. In Maharashtra, the bone of contention was that 41 lakh voters were added in the 6 months between Lok Sabha elections and the state elections. Now, numbers have been assessed over a period of time for various state elections and these gaps, and it has come out that it's not an out of ordinary number.
Who said that? It is an extraordinary number that was added, and I am repeating myself. Between after 5 o'clock, if the number is increasing drastically, what do you say about that? Suddenly,
even that, the 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. surge, the EC has said it's about 8%, and it has been seen to be about 8% in other elections as well. In fact, the hourly average and the 2-hour average of 5 to 7 p.m., the hourly average of how many votes are cast are much higher. All of this the EC has said on record. Charu.
Shivani, no, let me complete, please.
Okay, 20 seconds.
Yes, so when you're talking about Maharashtra and that 5 to 6, when you're talking in percentage and when you talk about the actual number, you will realize that even 1 minute was not given to one person to vote. And I must tell the BJP spokesperson that they are behaving like EC spokesperson, and Rahul Gandhi has punctured the inflated ego of Mr. Modi, and that dumb bomb that you're talking about is him. And that has exploded in his face.
Final comments.
The dumb bomb that you spoke about.
Final comments. Charu, Pragya, the numbers don't add up. The EC could do a better job, especially in context of the SIR exercise, of explaining things to the electorate and to the political parties. One bone of contention is that the EC is not taking political parties along or are not listening to its concerns.
Fair question, Shivani. But let's remember that this issue is in court right now, and the Supreme Court, in all its wisdom, has decided not to stay the matter. Also, the Election Commission is publishing data regularly, and this latest published data reminds us that 52 lakh names which have been removed are for solid reasons. 18.5 lakh people are dead. They want the votes of ghosts. 26 lakh plus people have moved their residence to another state. This is actually, the total number comes to more than 6.5% of the total number of votes in Bihar. 6.5%, that's more than the margin needed to win an election. So what is the Congress up to? And I asked them again, and I asked this specifically. You're talking about some random evidence and you've been shifting the goalpost for months now. Why has none of it been put on record in front of the court, in front of the Election Commission, or even in front of the people of India? So you come with the mic in your hand, say all kinds of things, even threatening the Election Commission to the extent that it has been threatened today, which is appalling, by the way, and which should not be defended. But when it comes to quoting facts, numbers, data or proof, you come up with zero.
All right, I'll leave it at that. I do thank both of our guests for joining us. Of course, the government has said, as far as the floor of the parliament is concerned, the SIR debate cannot take place because none of them can actually respond to what is the EC's procedure in this case. Time for a very short break. At the end of Plain Speak, the right stand is coming up after a short while.
Brought to you by... This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The opposition, remember, is now going to intensify the entire stir, which so far was limited to the parliament. But Rahul Gandhi has already attacked the Election Commission on the SIR issue. What we are being told is that he's saying that votes are being stolen. He's reiterated that Election Commission is involved in vote theft. Listen in to what the leader of opposition has to say.
पास ओपन एंड शट प्रूफ है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोट चोरी में इन्वॉल्व है, और मैं लाइटली नहीं बोल रहा हूं, मैं 100% प्रूफ के साथ बोल रहा हूं, ठीक है। और आप सबको पता लग जाएगा, जैसे ही हमने ये रिलीज किया, पूरे देश को पता लग जाएगा कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोटर चोरी करा रहा है। किसके लिए करा रहा है? किसके लिए करा रहा है? बीजेपी के लिए करा रहा है। ओपन एंड शट है, नो क्वेश्चन। हमें मध्य प्रदेश में सस्पिशन था, लोकसभा में सस्पिशन था, महाराष्ट्र में वो थोड़ा आगे गया, स्टेट लेवल पे हमें लगा कि यहां पे चोरी हुई है। वोटर एडिशन हुआ था, 1 करोड़ वोटर्स ऐड हुए थे। फिर हम थोड़ा डिटेल में गए, हमने कहा देखो अब इलेक्शन कमीशन तो मदद नहीं कर रहा है, तो थोड़ी ग्रैन्युलैरिटी में जाना है, गहराई में जाना है। तो हमने अपना ही इन्वेस्टिगेशन करवाया, उसमें 6 महीने लगे और जो हमें मिला है वो एटम बॉम्ब है। मतलब एटम बॉम्ब है, फटेगा तो आप इलेक्शन कमीशन आपको दिखेगा नहीं हिंदुस्तान में।
Claims coming in from the leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi. Remember, it's not the first time that he's accused the EC of stealing votes for the BJP, but this comes again on a day when the voter draft has been released by the EC in the state of Bihar. Pallavi Ghosh joins me with more perspective on that news story. Pallavi should be joining us in just a bit, but remember, Rahul Gandhi has reiterated that he has proof, and not just any proof. He's gone on to label it as proof which is an atom bomb. Once that will be released, will not in fact leave the EC with any face saving. But it's important that he is now indicating that they are all set to release that evidence in some time from now, as Arunima was highlighting that these political parties, even the ones in the opposition, have been given a copy of the SIR draft rollout, and one that will also be uploaded at 3 p.m. today for public consumption. But these parties have their hands on this, and keeping all of this in mind, Rahul Gandhi is stepping out in the parliament, making that claim that he will be exposing the election commission, reiterating his accusation that the election commission is stealing votes of the people of Bihar. He's also referred to the assembly elections in Maharashtra, even MP. Arunima joins me on the phone line with more inputs. So Arunima, as you were highlighting earlier, that Rahul Gandhi is already now creating a stir, rather intensifying the stir by making that claim that he's going to expose that evidence, which is an atom bomb, as he's claimed. But give us a sense of how the strategy that Rahul Gandhi is now going to be following.
See, he has been speaking about this voter list fraud for some time. Even on the floor of the House, he spoke about Maharashtra elections, and he suffered a setback. The Mumbai High Court, the judiciary in Maharashtra, refused to entertain the plea that his party had taken. There was no such positive news from the Delhi High Court either, as far as Haryana elections are concerned. So even though he has been constantly harping on the point, he first spoke about Maharashtra and Haryana. Latest edition was Karnataka, where he said that Central Bengaluru elections were also chosen. Today he has also spoken about Madhya Pradesh, where Kamal Nath government lost, saying that we had our doubts there and in Lok Sabha. So his list is increasing, but where is the evidence? And if there is evidence, then this could be his best chance. In this, role revision in Bihar, if he can come up with document to show that about 30 lakh people who have been marked as deceased, some of them are actually alive, then it is his chance to embarrass the EC. If he can come up with documents to show that around 25-28 lakh people who have been marked as people not staying at their address, then it is his chance to prove that, what I was saying is true. Here is the proof of it. So this is a golden opportunity for the opposition in Bihar SIR process to show that what they have been saying is backed by proof on ground. If not, Election Commission will turn around once again and tell you, I told you so.
And they've already done that, especially in the case of Maharashtra and other states, because remember, the main plank of the BJP, of the centre, and of course of the Election Commission has also been that never have such accusations been heard for states like Karnataka or Telangana.
Yes, and even allies. I mean, you hear Uddhav Thackeray, what did he say about Maharashtra? He said, we lost the election because the battle of we became battle of I, meaning there were internal problems within the alliance. You listen to Omar Abdullah. National Conference had a sweeping win in Jammu and Kashmir. He's an alliance partner. He has refused to blame the electoral process. So also Jharkhand, again an alliance partner, Bharatiya Janata Party went hammer and tongs against Hemant Soren. He was in jail, so there were allegations of corruption. There was allegation that Bangladeshi infiltration was happening in Santhal Pargana. Even after that, Hemant Soren came back with a thumping win in Karnataka to Siddaramaiah government proved that it had the mettle to defeat BJP. So if there was extensive voter fraud happening, how are these states being won by opposition member parties is what election commission officials also ask.
Absolutely. Many thanks to you, Arunima, for bringing us all those latest inputs on that news story. Sardar R.P. Singh joining me on the phone line. Good to have you, sir. How do you, in fact, respond to Rahul Gandhi's latest claim that he has evidence which is the equivalent of an atom bomb that once it is released will leave the EC extremely embarrassed and ashamed?
Well, there's only one atom bomb, which is people's mandate. And he knows that the people's mandate is not in their favor. And then that's why he's trying to build up this false narrative against Election Commission. Earlier, he used to speak about the EVM machines. Now he's talking about the rigging in the voter list. But he's forgetting that in Telangana, when 22 lakh plus voters were deleted by the Election Commission, their leader, Ravi Reddy, was clapping and was going gaga for the Election Commission. And
मोहन भागवत का कोई संबंध ही नहीं था। वो निष्पाप थे। वो उनका क्या संबंध है? कोई एविडेंस नहीं, क्या नहीं, कोई रिकॉर्ड नहीं।
उस समय की जो सरकार है, इस सरकार ने वोट की राजनीति के लिए हिंदू टेरर और भगवा आतंकवाद ये शब्द तैयार किए थे।
झूठे आरोप लगाकर मोहन भागवत जी को गिरफ्तार करने की बात कही, झूठे मनगढ़ंत कहानी बनाकर।
ये कहा गया कि मैं ये नाम ले दूं कुछ बीजेपी के कुछ अन्य संगठनों के कि इनके कहने पर भगवा आतंकवाद को ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है और इस तरह से बहुसंख्यक समाज बदनाम हो जाए, भारत बदनाम हो जाए। लेकिन मैं दीवार में जिंदा चिनवा दी जाऊंगी गुरु गोविंद सिंह जी के साहबजादों की तरह, लेकिन मैं ये नाम नहीं लूंगी, ना मैंने लिए हैं।
ये पूरे फ्रेम से पता चलता है कि आरएसएस को घेरने की साजिश है, क्योंकि हमारे लॉकअप में टॉर्चर के दौरान में योगी जी का नाम लेने के लिए बहुत बड़ा प्रेशर किया। 11-12 दिन हमारा टॉर्चर किया हमें।
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. The Malegaon order copy has been accessed here first, exclusively on CNN News 18. It's 1,036 pages long, but point by point, it underlines and underscores the fact that there were two agencies that investigated, and it was only one against whom there were allegations of torture, gross misconduct, and wrong application or under application of the due process of law, and that is the Maharashtra ATS. Your channel CNN News 18 has accessed the Malegaon court order that raises serious questions on the actions of the Maharashtra ATS in the Malegaon 2008 blast case. The order repeatedly mentions that Lieutenant Colonel Purohit was allegedly framed using manipulated and